I got a other piece stitched together. Now we can actually look at our stitch line here at the back. Here's my stitch line, and it precisely lines up with my stitch line where it needs to be. See, perfect. I like it. And of course I got my seam allowance here. It's going to stay kind of like that, and then let's see. Wrap it around. All right, so far so good. I'm pretty happy the way it looks. Let's go to the bottom. And so next step will be to we can actually stitch together this piece here with our with this piece, and then the last will be to get inside pieces. Okay. When I was working on the first chair, I was really worried if I'm gonna do something before, you know, I got myself messed up. You know, I didn't know what steps to make, how to follow, how all the pieces should get together. Now, here you can see we have this little stitch line here. It's like a decorative stitch. I think it's called like a French stitch or something like that. So what we're gonna do to make that, we will actually take one of these sides here. We're gonna fold it like we're gonna actually make it flat like this, and then we're gonna actually make a straight stitch across. So this is inside, so we're gonna make one decorative stitch through both of these seam lines, and that's gonna be actually next step before I stitch this strip that goes around. So now we're gonna make that decorative stitch. First, what you have to do, you have to make sure that you have enough thread inside your bobbin. So underneath the needle you have a bobbin, basically a spool that you loaded up your thread. And of course you have a big spool from the top, it's not a problem, but there's a limited amount of thread you can have at the bottom. And you have to make sure that you're going to have enough, because especially for for the other stuff, it's not a big of a deal. You can always stop and redo it, but when you do decorative stitch, you don't want to stop and then do it again. It's not going to look good. Now, we've seen that on our chair we had a decorative stitch inside. When it was a seam allowance, it was actually the seam line. It was actually inside of the seam line. So that's what we're going to do as well. And this is going to be a little tricky for me. I'm not going to be able to make a same distance, which doesn't really matter because of the thickness of my presser foot. It's going to be a little bit wider, but it'll be fine. Because now I have to follow the edge of my presser foot with the edge of my seam line to make that stitch going. And so what we're going to do now, we're going to make it flat like this, and we're going to lay it flat, and this whole time you have to make sure that it's actually stay flat, because you don't want to stitch these two together and then it's not going to look good. And so we're going to start. I'm going to drop the needle down, and it'll be fine. And I'm going to drop my presser foot, and now so you guys can, well, let's just get the camera a little closer. So this is what I'm talking about. So in order to make the nice straight stitch, I'm going to follow the edge of this presser foot right with my seam line. And again, it's going to be a little bit wider. See where the needle is, but then what's on the tree. But that's like a I can actually change my presser foot for this particular part, but I'm not going to. This will be just fine. So it's going to be wide as from this edge to the needle. Sorry, from this edge to the needle. It'll be anyhow, so I have to make sure it's the pieces are nice and flat at the bottom. I have my machine set again at 7 millimeters. It should be fine. I like it. so now we have to make again, make it nice and flat. One more time now. I can actually use my double-sided needle, if I, no sorry, double-sided tape, and tape this from inside so that I don't have to. I mean, I can actually feel I'll be fine. And so anyhow, I'm gonna turn the machine on and start sewing again. Okay, I'm gonna lock the stitch now. You have to lock this one. Back a little bit now. Something else you want to do, you want to keep stretching your material to the side and keep on going. Just nice and easy, no rush, no reason to rush, any of this stuff. Okay, there we go. Now you want a machine do your job. You don't want to pull it back too much because you're gonna actually you can mess up your stitch length, because if you do like a counter traction with your fabric, the machine's gonna pull one way, you're gonna pull the opposite direction, and then it's not gonna feed correctly. And you would think the machine is the problem, but actually it's a user error. Just okay. This whole time now I have to, every time I readjust my material, I have to make sure that I'm nice and flat at the bottom. Both sides are actually again. I feel it here, we're good. Stretch it nicely. Okay, and this, what I like about this machine is the foot on the clutch. I can now, you know, I guess at this point I have enough of muscle memory that I can actually, you know, articulate my, as soon as I press it backwards, it stops right on. It's very nice. I can see I'm good here, and let's finish this one. Again, you have to make sure that you have enough thread at the bottom, because what happens if you get out of the thread and now you have to do it again, and that's going to be, you will be able to see that. Of course, something else, you want to make sure that you're using a correct collar. I'm using the white one, that's right in here, I like it. So, and you know what, at the end of the day, it's sky's the limit, you can do whatever you want to. That's what I kind of like about this. You know, what type, what color, whatever, it's nice. Now I'm going to this the part that's kind of curved, so I have to kind of lift up my material so I can actually make this curve here. And stretch it up a little bit. But this walking foot is a phenomenal machine because it feeds the top and the bottom at the same time. It's absolutely a phenomenal machine. The motor is nice and quiet. I love it. Reverse it, lock it, and this one's done. Okay. It's a nice, even, beautiful stitch. Not a skip. You know, this machine will skip this sometimes, but this is perfect. Nothing, nice tension. And this is what distance what I was talking about. Originally it's kind of like here, but I actually like this better. And so I'm going to do the other side, and then yeah, I just absolutely love it. It's a nice, even, straight line. All the stitches are nice and even, beautiful. The back side is done. I've got both decorative stitches done. Pretty nice. This is what the back looks like. So only one side is stitched. Now, we're gonna start suturing our back piece to this top strip. Again, don't get scared. But first, what you gotta do, you gotta mark the center of your whole piece, which is basically the center of the middle of your back piece that we had it before. So what I did actually, I notched with my scissors where the center is, the middle, and this will actually correspond with that line that I made before, right there, okay? And so, again, if you're confused, if you don't know how everything goes, just put it back on the chair, and because now is not a time to make mistake, which I've done plenty of time, actually plenty of time. And okay, we're ready, and then we're going to take the strip, we're going to orient it to the direction where it needs to be, and make sure. So this is where the curve is, it goes inside, okay? It's very easy to make mistake now, easy to flip to the wrong side. And here's another end. You see this curve, it's actually pointing inside of the chair, okay? Now I already have a middle of this piece, of this strip here, because I had to I didn't have a piece long enough, I had to switch it from two pieces. So basically now we're going to connect these two pieces together. Now we know which way it goes. It's going to be like that, right? Okay, so now I'm going to flip it back and I'm going to staple it again. This way I'm not going to make mistake when I get to my table. I know exactly what edges I need to stitch together now. And I'm just going to put that down, get my staple gun, lined up the edges, line up the mid section of my back piece and of my due to the fact that my stitch allowance is the same, I can just, you know, get my edges lined up and I'll be fine. Now what I do need, actually, I need a little bit, I need to find a heavy duty stapler. Now I have actually 4 layers of material that I have to staple it. That's okay. So it's pretty close right there. I'm gonna do a couple more. Okay, that should do it. I just need something to kind of start. I know which way it's going to go, and we're going to proceed to our table. And now we're going to sew this together. Now, as you start adding more and more stuff, it's actually getting heavier and heavier. So, especially this material is pretty heavy. Something else that's nice about this machine, the bobbin is huge. I mean, you can put a lot of thread on. You can do a lot of work with one load, actually. And okay, so now I'm going to go to the middle, and this is basically what I have done with my bolsters. So in order to get your sides even, you cannot start from the end. You always start from the middle. Mark your middle on both sides, and then you're going to stitch one end, and then we're going to reverse it, and then go to the other side. Okay, and so. I'm going to set my presser foot. This is what's nice. I have 4 layers of vinyl now, and this machine is awesome because I struggled with any other machine. It just did not have enough gap for me to put the material underneath. This machine is absolutely phenomenal. And now I can easily see how much room I have. Actually, I can even put one more layer of it. So, which for the most part, 4 layers are all you're going to have to deal with anyway. In this kind of applications, I guess. Let's see what's going on here with my thread. Alright, there you go. Alright, and again, these staples do help. I mean, you can nicely now, you can start again if you like. You can staple it all the way around, which I've done it before. That actually helps a lot as well. It's just you know, whatever works for you, whatever gets your job easier, that's what you're going to do. Makes your job easier. Okay, then make sure I'm good on the. There you go, perfect. That's what I want. Nice. Okay, and now I'm going to drop my needle down. I'm going to start sewing. I will lock this stitch now for sure, and I'm going to go way around. So this is where things now are starting to get a little bit more difficult. You got a lot of material, you got a lot of curves you have to follow, but you can make it. Alright, so alright, there we go. So I lock my stitch, and so now when I get here, I'm just gonna kind of lay this flat, so I'm gonna get it bunched up, and push this down a little bit. Now I have to move my material that fits under the machine. There we go. And now it's time to start feeding your top and the bottom piece together. But this presser foot is just, I mean, it works. I mean, it's just. So now you don't want to, set too much tension to the bottom or the top of the material. Try to kind of get it as easy as you can for the machine to do the job. Just get the less tension up front. There it works. Alright, well, let's see what it's going to look like. The most part was fine. There's right in here, it did miss one time, but not too bad, it's fine. Okay, so, let's see what we got. There you go. So this looks pretty good. And again, now we're just going to reverse it, and we're going to do the other side. Like our chair's going to get a nice coat. So far. Nice curve here at the front, both sides. Unfortunately, I just realized that I made a mistake, and I knew it was going to happen sooner or later. So anyhow, the this back piece here, I should stitch my headrest to it, and I completely forgot about it. This piece here is supposed to be stitched to this seam line in here, like so. And I forgot to put it in. So what I have to do now, I have to unstitch part of this very carefully and put this piece in. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it's kind of something I just did not think about. So I'm gonna carefully get my scissors and. Problem with this material, you don't want to poke it too many times with your needle, it can start to tear. So, and also, once you get the hole in the vinyl, it's there. It's not like a fabric. The thing here is that nothing, it's not going to be visible, so it'll be fine. That's basically what I have to do now. I have to get this open to get my headrest into it. So I unstitched part of the the back plate. And now that's my headrest piece, and here's the side I'm going to stitch to the back. I marked the center of it, the middle of it, just by folding it in half and snip it, the edge of it. And now I'm going to mark that with my midline on my back piece here. And so I'm just going to slide it through this opening, line it up, and stitch it together. So this should be fine. It's just again one of those things that you don't follow all the steps as you should and then end up with something like this, but it'll be okay. Now this is kind of difficult right now because you got so many layers of material on top of each other. It's a nightmare. But I think I'll be okay. I think I did not position my headrest right in the center. Somehow shifted a little bit to the side, but oh well, it'll be okay. It's not perfect, but I think it'll work. It's actually not too bad. Here and here, it's pretty close. It's not a perfect stitch, but it'll be fine. This is really difficult. I mean, this is one of the hardest things I remember doing on the other chair. Under. It's not too bad. It'll be okay. This is stapled down. It'll be fine. The stitch is not perfect, but just did not get close to my piping. But I can't change it right now. Threads from another, and I had to that'll be better, that's better. Alright, that's not too bad. Alright, not the best, but it'll be okay. Yeah, this was the most challenging part for me anyway, so it'll be okay. Alright, well, let's get them inside. Just made a couple sandbags. I was just playing with some scrap pieces that I had around. And this helps so much to hold your fabric. You can put it on the table, see it's nice and it's not rolling off the table. And now I'm gonna put them on my template here. Hopefully it'll hold it for me so I can. This one, a little bit too big, I guess. It'll be fine. Probably have to make a couple of same size as this one. This will work. Alright, that'll be fine. And okay, this is going to be our stitch line, and so let's just do this one for time to be sure. Alright, that'll be fine. So now here's my template. This part here is going to be stapled inside the chair, and this part here is going to be stapled to my to this piece here. So all I have to do now, leave a seam allowance to this edge here. My piece out, and now I'm just going to add 15 millimeters all the way around this edge here. Seems to be pretty straight. Yeah, that's fine. Right there. Alright, and then I'm going to go around this curve. Now what I'm doing right now, I'm just connecting the dots to make my seam allowance. This is going to be my final cut. And then I'm going to use the same piece to mark my other side. Okay. Okay. All right. So this will be actually our right side, and so as you can see now, we can cut it. I should have made this a long time ago. Okay. Alright, this is a scrap piece. Trash. Now so we're going to use this side to make the left side. Okay, so this is going to be the right side here. Good. Yep. Now, in order to make the left side, you're going to flip this piece, right? You're going to flip it, and then now at this point, I'm just kind of looking to the best place that I can actually save my material, so I don't waste too much. Which at the end of the project, it's not a big deal, but I don't have much left anyway. stitch allowance, seam allowance, whatever, but it's already calculated into this left side now. And I can go ahead and mark my stitch line, but quite frankly, my edge or my material is going to be I don't really have to. This should be okay. This should be our left side. There. To the right side. Okay. Now we need to figure out where we're going to start stitching this together. And it can be a little tricky now because these are two separate pieces and you don't really have a place where to start, so to speak, so I'm not sure. Let's see how it is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this piece on. And make sure this is where it needs to be. Okay, now this looks okay. Yes, we're going to start this side. So on this one it was easier because I had a back piece and I was stitching straight to this outside piece here. These two pieces are separate, so we have to kind of almost like eyeball it, see where it's supposed to be. You can't really mark anything, so I think actually right here I'm okay. Right, the edge of this should be edge with this end, see it? So, and then once I get this one done, I'll go back to the other side. And, so this should be actually just foam. Tack it a little bit so I can. Oh well. I think I'm fine. I think this would be okay. There. Alright, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to start from this very edge. Now, of course, we have to flip this piece this way, and we're going to start stitching like this. Okay? Let's start sewing. Okay, so I will staple it just a little bit easier, and then we'll start sewing this end. It's always good to staple that. Or you're going to staple all the way around, that's fine as well, just to kind of, so you don't make a mistake. And start sewing now. On this side, I will have to get all this material actually to this side. This is where it's going to get complicated. So now I got to go this way. Unfortunately, all this is going to be fed on the machine now. And you know, with these things, with this material, the more you get, actually heavier it gets. So I'll try to kind of roll it a little bit. patient. Alright, so now I'm going to set my presser foot right where I need to be. Alright, set my presser foot down. Make sure it's in the... And then we're going to follow pretty much this edge all the way around. And let's see what happens. Alright, let's say wish me luck, right? Lock it. There. Sometimes you have to, since I have a lot of material, I have to kind of keep pushing it, that I can actually help the machine a little bit. Let me change my switch line. Like right now, I'm so bunched up underneath, I really have to watch what I'm doing, because if I'm not careful, I can actually over sew the end that I don't supposed to. I have to stretch it and make sure nothing is caught underneath. Now I have to follow my line. You can see right here, I have to now feed it to this edge. You got the camera a little closer. What can happen, you can actually have some of this material caught underneath, and you're going to over sew something what you don't supposed to. So what you want to do, just get these edges lined up, and like as I said, I did not mark my stitch line on this piece because I don't need to. As long as I'm keeping my edges together, I'll be okay. You see now this is bunched up. That's okay. There's nothing you can do about that. You just keep getting these edges lined up as best as you can. I'm going to stop now. Put together again. It's a little bit easier now. Again, I check my bottom piece. This is that presser foot really helps so much. This is the ridge of my piping here. And the suppressor foot has that indentation. It kind of sits right on top of it, and it slides so much easier. Okay. That's fine. Okay, and now things get, you can see now I have this curve. Now I have to start moving my material, which it'll be fine. See, I can safely get to this point here. It's a straight line. Okay, I'm going to push this to the side, check my bottom piece, it looks okay. I'm going to move the bottom piece forward a little bit with the presser foot. Alright, again, check the bottom, everything nice and clear. And now we're going to get this piece. This helps when you have a bigger machine. You got this called throat, you can shove all this material through it. Okay, now let's see. Okay, now you can see I'm changing my curve now. I get to this point. Now here I have this loop and I'm really having a hard time to get over it, so what you can do now, you take a scissors and just make a little cut. Don't go too deep because you're going to get into your stitch, but this helps a little bit, kind of relieve that. It's a little bit tricky now. I mean, you got more and more stuff, more and more pieces together and curves and whatever, so this will be okay like that. You just have to kind of find your, there you go. So yeah, when I turn this kind of inside out, it kind of lays nice and flat now. So alright, so I'm going to lock the stitch and let's see what happened. So we got here now. This is where we're gonna there you go. This is where I made a mistake. When I made a little slit now I have this will be okay. I'm gonna use a little bit of yeah, that's exactly what happened. Kind of got overlap on me, but oh well. I can get, yeah, I'm going to use a little bit of, later on, what do I want to say, seam to kind of smooth it down a little bit. Okay, not bad. It's going to take a lot of pulling and tugging and, you know, to get this where it needs to be. Okay, well, for now that's going to be it. I'm going to mark my other side a little bit. I'm not really happy the way this side is done. Let's see. So a lot of stretching this way to get this, to smooth this down. Yeah, this is not an easy one. Okay, so at this point I just want to mark where I'm going to start suturing this last piece. Then I'm going to clean up the chair and all that and then start final step. Okay, I think right here should do it. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna mark. I'm gonna start right there. Okay. Alright, well this process is gonna be the same. I'm gonna stitch this side and then see what happens for a little bit. Got the other side sutured and clean up the chair and everything, so foam is in pretty decent shape. I don't have to worry about that. And start slowly putting this where it needs to go. still have my back piece marked where the center line is. Now I'm going to staple the this bottom. I'm just going to line it up and just going to put a couple of staples just to have some alignment. So it's the same on the top. Wash my hands, I have some ink on it, I don't want to get that on my it's hard to clean up. Okay, let's see here, I can stretch this. You know, you have to start from somewhere, so. Okay, so let's see. Fine. A little bit. Yeah, I don't like it. This is not straight. I think I put too much tension on the top. It's better. Keep your table clean. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I think, I'm going to just staple them inside and get this edge lined up where it needs to be. A little bit bunched up here, which I don't like. Pull it down some more. Actually, I think what I'll have to do, actually, I'm going to cut this. I have to repeat this because I'm going to have that headrest here, so this might actually be a little bit too much anyway. I know it was cut on the other chair as well, so I'm just going to get rid of this piping, this piece. Better. Yeah. That's better. All right. Now let's go ahead and just put a couple of staples inside I struggled with this corner last time as well. It didn't go well. Kind of, 1 second. This will be covered, so it'll be okay, I believe. Just staple it later. Now I want to make sure that I have this edge lined up with the do, I'm going to try to kind of milk it down so that you don't have any wrinkles, that you can see it. See right here, I get these wrinkles, so I kind of try to milk it out. You don't have to worry about here, but you don't want to see them here. I'm just not getting a good. I'm going to try to get my steamer and see if I can warm this up a little bit and make it a little bit softer. So now, like, the problem here, this chair is kind of going this direction, so it kind of bunched up, even though I did cut that piece the way it should be, but still. So I'm just gonna heat this up a little bit. You can see how already it's actually, see that? You don't want to do too much, of course. Just kind of heat it up a little bit, and then you can see how nicely it'll stretch over. I'm gonna just get over this edge. I don't care what's gonna happen under. I just don't want to see. I don't like to see anything here. So let me staple here. Gotta milk this up. There we go. Back that side. In the chairs it's really difficult because now you want to get attention, but at the same time you don't want to get your line distorted. You're not going to be where you want to be. This way first. Just staple this. Let's go follow this edge. I think I'm okay here. Just going to staple this all the way. And then work it out from inside. I'm struggling. take this over here now. Okay, that's really difficult here. Still pretty good lined up, and that's why you want to have, you know, more enough material so you can actually staple it, unstaple it. I have to do it anyway. I wish I didn't have to, but I do. So kind of find a sweet spot. Don't go too much. It's wrapping around right now, and that's what it's really hard. Again, you just want to get these wrinkles out from the place, you know, the part that you see. The bottom of the chair, it's not a problem. You don't see that. Gotta be careful with the steam, it can burn you. But you can see right now, actually, I'm able to kind of milk this out here. So nicely. Just heat it up just a touch. It does help. Okay. Be alright. Just kind of happy this little piece, but okay, so once this cools down it should be okay. Let's see what else we got here. You have to kind of spread it. Okay, well, this is actually not too bad here. Alright, so I think I'm going to leave it for now. I'm going to go back inside and see what I can do with this. I'm making progress. It's okay, looks fine. Now I can see I still have wrinkles here, and a little bit of problem actually. I'm missing, I didn't pay attention to it, I'm missing a little bit of foam. I might actually add a little bit of foam right in this edge here. I wish I had some more foam kind of support this edge, but it'll be okay. So I'm waiting for my steamer to warm up. So what I'm going to do next, I want to actually set the tension to this pipe here, this piping. If I pull this down, if I heat it up and I pull this down, it's going to pull this edge over and hopefully it's going to line it up. I think one of the problems also when I was sewing this together, probably misaligned a little bit. That's kind of go sideways a little bit. You know, you're gonna learn. So we try to. This will be at the bottom. I don't have to worry about that. So I want to grab this piping. I can actually get a good pull on it once I heat it up, and hopefully it will pull some out. Okay, I'm gonna, the steam is going, see if I can heat it up and pull it down some more and pull these wrinkles out. I'm gonna actually heat up the piping itself. getting better. A little bit more, see if I can keep the tension on it. I just keep pulling this side. That's better. Try one more time. Okay, I think I'm okay. I'm about to burn myself. Just gonna staple it. Let it actually cool down a little bit and see what we got. Alright, I think I'm okay. It's not perfect, but it's fine. I'm just gonna let it cool down a little bit and see I'm actually done for tonight. But here's my problem here. As I stretch more, then, you know, of course we had that part of the material that doesn't stretch left to right. I'm still losing my, I'm online okay, but I think I'm actually getting too much on the side again, more than I would like to see it, but it's okay. I mean, I'm just not. So I would like to have my edge right in here, and as I was setting the tension on the other side, I kind of shifted a little bit more, but it'll be okay. I mean, I'm okay here. I mean, I like this line, and it's just the nature of the beast, I guess. I'm gonna get this cleaned up a little bit, and let's see if I can. It's fine. It's good. I'm gonna get the other side done, and I mean, this takes me a long time because I just don't, you know, don't do this all the time. So this is, as I said, is my second chair. So all right, well, I'll show the final product then. Okay, well, let's see the final product. Definitely plenty of room for improvements. Second one I ever done, it's much better than the one that I did first, but still not perfect by any means. And so, I mean, it looks fine, but again, it's not. I'm satisfied with it, but there's a lot of room for improvements. Bolsters look okay. I'm happy the way this was done. Like when you see this, you shouldn't really see the stitch lines here, but yeah, well, it's okay. Could never get all of these wrinkles out. You can see now, as more you stretch, the more stitch line you're gonna see it. So at some point you just have to stop because you're doing more, you know, harm than good. The line is okay. Again, more you like this one. What I don't like, my piping here kind of goes inward a little bit more on inside. It's well, at the end of the day, the biggest deal is it's symmetrical, so we can see on both sides it's kind of go in a little bit. But this looks okay. Bolster was the hardest one. I hate those things. But I'm actually pretty pleased these bolsters look. So the front looks decent, and so I messed it up big time here, and I knew it's going to be difficult. See right here, it's kind of bunched up, and it's just because there's so many layers. Of course, I messed it up because I forgot to stitch this to the back in the first place. But you got so many layers now, overlappings and stuff, so it's really hard to sew this together and make it nice and even. And this side is even worse, but again, it's not too bad. It's okay. I actually use my steamer again to kind of iron down these edges as well, so that looks fine. Let's see. And so the back looks pretty good, so that mistake I made. I think I used a little bit too long on my stitch. It's not going to come apart, but I should actually go, I think it was like a 7mm, I should go 5. Messed it up here as well. You can see some holes, and that's what the problem with this material, you know, once you poke the hole through it, it's going to stay there. And something else I'm going to do in the future, I'm going to get me a presser foot. It actually has a like a little edger, like a little blade. You can actually fit it into your seam line, and you can follow your see I can really, it's you can see these waves here. That's not good. So I will have to get the other, you know, it's up to, you know, of course it's me not able to follow the line, but you know, if you don't have the correct tool, that's not good either. So there's a special presser foot that has a little blade, there's a spring loaded, and it kind of keeps it, the blade stays inside the seam, and you can actually make this line much better. This one is not too bad. You can see some waves as well. And again, big mistake, I used way too long of the stitch length, so I should go 5 instead of 7, but that's okay. I'm learning. Everything else is nice and smooth. I like these sides, they're fine. And well, I think I'll play with these things more, maybe get another boat and do upholstery on it and have some fun with it. Definitely enjoyed doing this. Again, I never done it before. I started back in summer, and this is my second chair, and it looks okay. I mean, I would, from 0 to 10, I would rate this probably like 7.5, maybe something like 7.5. It's not too bad. And now this is difficult. This is one of the most difficult part. You know, I don't know. Like, this drives me crazy. I can see this edge here is kind of curved in more than on this side, but I don't know. Oh well. Okay guys, a little bit different subject on my channel. Again, I apologize for not having any automotive videos right now. I just didn't have anything to film. I mean, there was a lot of wrenching, but not really much of any diagnostic work and diagnostic case studies. But yeah, I think this was interesting as well. So, well, let me know guys what you think. All right, have a good one. Bye bye.